Welcome to the One Up Podcast. I am your host, El Caballo, a.k.a. Tony. Here with some of my nearest and dearest and co-hosts in the building. The Texas one without a gun, Mateo, is here live.
I am. That survived.
Happy. Joyful.
Happy. Ecstatic.
Saucy.
Gleeful.
Saucy. Real saucy today.
That's saucy is for our boy down under.
Saucy Aussie.
Saucy Aussie.
Also in the building, the bald one, the great one, Pucho is in the building.
Woo. Some would say balder than ever before. All right, I just shaved moments ago. All right,
That shit's glistening right now.
It is.
Nary a hair on his head.
nary a head was glistened though. That shit, the bald head is just there's a natural sheen to this shit. Everybody
don't oil
wonders
it
if a
up?
bald man. No, I don't oil my head.
I
What
thought
do
you
look
oil
like?
that shit up. That's crazy.
Fucking grease ball.
Little milk duds.
His wife is there with the towel in the morning.
Ooh, like with a bowling ball.
That's fucking
I was going for the shoe shine, but the bowling ball is way more applicable. Do you think they shine the bowling ball because it rolls smoother when it's perfectly
to.
like sheen?
That's
Or do you
gotta
think
be
they
it,
just
right?
want their bowling balls just looking fresh?
Both.
Because I would do it as just like a style. You know what I mean? I would shine my bowling balls just to look nice.
I would have that bowling ball like Mystery Men. You remember Janine Garofalo? She had the bowling ball that was like her dad's skull inside the bowling ball. I'd have that one. Maybe not my dad's skull, just a skull in general.
Also in
They
the
have the
building.
spirit.
Oh,
Dale.
I can't forget about Doe. Y'all always want to forget about him. Also in the building, DJ Doey Fresh on the ones and twos, on the threes and fours. You meet him at the 4, he'll meet you at the 5. Like all that energy? No, it was too much.
Buck, buck.
Yeah,
Damn.
that's what I get. A buck.
I thought he was gonna lean in to say something and his mic was gonna be muted.
I was waiting. I was waiting for that shit. We gotta have a mute-minded count. We used to have
50% of the time, Doey's muted every time.
It's true.
That's crazy.
So I hurt my neck this week.
Oh no.
I've got a canopy bed. You can kind of see it in the background there, right? But like one of the top beams like broke off. And it like I didn't even hurt my neck in like a fun, sexy way. This was not like I was having vigorous sex and the bed broke injury. I was just moving some shit on the bed and the crossbeam fell off and whacked me in the back of the damn neck. And my neck is hurt all week from it.
Damn.
This man's over here having monkey sex all in the bed and shit, flicking and
We
flipping.
need to sleep like the Coneheads. You remember Coneheads?
The movie, yeah.
How did they
They
sleep?
had a bed. It was like just on the wall, and they would just stand into it and just knock out. They were just standing. It just seems like the most posture friendly way to sleep. Like you're just maintaining the natural state of being, and there'd be no danger of beams whacking you on the neck.
That is fair. I feel like that's a lot of like spine compression though. Aren't you just gonna shrink a little bit more every day? I've heard you're taller in the morning. If you were to like measure your height, you're taller in the morning than in the afternoon because your spine hasn't compressed from gravity.
So I'm really 6'4" in the morning.
Yeah, you can claim 6'4", I guess.
Look
I
at the
claim like
hate.
5'2".
Guys putting 3 inches on there.
How am I putting 3 inches?
That's the most manly shit ever.
I'm 6'2" on
Talking
a good
about-
day.
On a
You're
good day.
6'2". You're 6'2" maybe in the morning, okay? But you're trying to stretch it to 6'4".
I wish I
added
was a
3
little bit
inches.
taller. I wish.
You wish you was a baller? You wish you was a shot caller?
Man, you got to keep it going, Mateo. You fucked that one up.
I fucked it up.
No, they fucked it up. They didn't keep going with the song.
That's a song. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I forgot what song.
Wish I had a girl. I would. That's something I would call her. Yeah.
Yep.
Classic shit, bro. That's how you
that
know
like-
you're from a good age or an era.
Isn't that like Lil Romeo or something?
Oh,
Is it
Was that
Coolio?
was that not one of the Lil dudes? Maybe that was. Maybe
No,
it was.
no. It's before Lil Romeo for sure.
one of the little dudes. Dope.
There's a
You
lot of-
said. Go ahead.
There's a lot of Lil rappers, dude. Lil Peep, Lil Xanax,
Little
Lil Romeo,
dumbasses.
Lil Bow Wow.
Talking about that, you heard this? That Drake's gonna probably go on trial for XX death.
Wait, what?
That Drake is gonna go on trial. He has to. They summoned him to go to court for the case for XX death, like how he got murdered and shit. Say that he might have something to do with it because of his raps. There's a whole thing right now
Interesting.
going on with rap like rappers getting like, especially with the Young Gunna and Young Thug situation, like they're going to court based off their raps, and a lot of people are saying, "Yo, like."
I don't think that's true.
There's a whole. There's a Netflix.
I think police officers could look at a rapper's raps to say, "Oh, they said they committed a crime. Why don't we investigate and see if they actually did?" But I don't think you could go into court and say, "Look, these are the lyrics this guy said. We think he did it." Like I don't like. You would have to do an investigation and find evidence. I don't think.
That's
Somebody on a song saying "I killed somebody" is enough. Is like a confession. I don't think it works like that.
That's what they're trying to do. Shit's crazy.
That's interesting. It seems so hard to try actually prosecute that. All you have to say is like, "It's just a song. I was just expressing myself creatively."
It's like somebody in the movie. It's like, "I killed her." Oh shit, he killed. They put him on trial in real life. He's like, "I'm just an actor."
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
What I did hear about Drake is that he's on trial for the trial of public opinion. You saw he did the blackface thing. He had some ad that's what I saw. I don't know how true it is, but it looked like fucking Drake. Like he said, from the Grassy days, he did some ad, and he's like in full blackface.
Yeah. That is him. That came out with the Pusha T beef.
Wild.
Pusha T kind of ended him. He won the Meek Mill beef, but Pusha T really exposed he had a kid to
that
the
shit
world.
was crazy.
And then he threw out that shit where he did some ad for some blackface shit. And those were the two things that Meek Mill put out. And I don't think Drake did anything. Like, I don't think he had anything after that.
I think Drake just decided, like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to just take this little L.
Mm-hmm.
The more you fight the L, it becomes a bigger L.
Sometimes you have to take the L, so that people can move on with the cycle can keep moving and people can find something else to latch on to.
Facts.
The public's attention span is real low. I mean, a lot of people have already forgotten that Drake likes to text underage women. So, I mean...
Yeah, no, there's this model that he closed the restaurant down for, and they were looking at the years and what the topic, they lied about her age. She, at the time, she was like fucking 16 or something like that.
That's Marcus Houston I think you're talking about, right?
No, this is Drake.
It was Drake.
I did just see the picture of Marcus Houston this morning. That shit said... a picture celebrating his 3 years of marriage and 10 years of a relationship, but under it says Marcus Houston left 40, and then the girl's name 22. And it's like, well, 3 years ago she was 19 when they got married. 10 years ago the girl was 12. This shit is crazy. Like, is this a typo? What the fuck is going on?
That shit looked crazy. Everybody was talking about it.
Regardless, if she's 22 and they got married when she was 19, the shit is weird. That put him 37 years old when he got married to her, which means they must have had some form of relationship prior to that. Which is like, she must have been like 18 or even younger. Who knows? And even 18, it's like, fuck, are you 36, 37 years old fucking with an 18-year-old girl? Shit is weird.
Shit is
super weird. Problematic.
Yo, Mateo, how's your bike going? Did you get it fixed
My bike is currently needing a new battery, and the weather in Texas has been so shitty lately that I just haven't put any time into it. I need to get back on that thing, though, honestly. I've got a 3-day weekend, so that maybe this is the weekend I go and get my battery swapped out, and I get a nice little neighborhood ride in. We'll see. Right now, it's like 30 degrees outside, so I don't know that today is the day.
That sounds bad.
I had to drop several $100s on my bicycle.
Again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
what happened?
Maintenance. I'm at like 2,500 miles, almost 3,000 miles, and just the parts are starting to fail. The chain is starting to break. The cassette needs to be changed. Brakes, all that other bullshit, stuff like that. I got new tires for it.
He's not having to pay gas prices, Tony. But those, there's still maintenance costs and shit.
There's still maintenance to it. This what we call in the cycling industry.
I hate what he does.
Maintenance.
Are those regular rubber, or is it the rubber that Stanley Yelnatz's dad invented? Holes.
I don't know.
And what's the quality of this rubber? Is it the essence of rubber?
It's not the essence of rubber. There's only one essence of rubber.
Yeah. People sleeping on that Stanley Yelnats rubber, dude.
Facts.
I definitely did. I forgot about that whole movie too. Classic.
I just remember him dunking somebody putting a shoe in a boiling pot of water or some shit.
Oh yeah, that's what he did.
He tried. It was like onions or peaches, the secret ingredient or some bullshit.
New York people are weird. But in the movie, in that movie, and I say
they had like the segregation love, right? The white woman and the black man, and the love wasn't supposed to happen.
I'm pretty sure he died for it. Like in Holes, the Disney original, they just casually murdered a black man for dating a white woman. Like they just casually dropped that one in there. So, yeah. Sam, I think was his name. It's like, I'll fix that too. I'll fix that. He was in there fixing all the things. He grabbed that woman and he fixed her right. All right. And them white people lynched him for it.
Yeah.
They didn't like a black man fixing nothing. She was fucked.
I've only ever seen that movie once. I had to look up who Stanley Yelnats was just now.
Stanley Yelnats is Shia LaBeouf.
Even Stevens.
Yeah, even Stevens.
All right.
His dad in the movie is another guy you know if you see him, but I have no idea what his name is.
That's fair. All those character actors, they just kind of fade together, dude.
One of my coworkers was born on 2001, and I'm like, you fucking don't know anything. He doesn't. I'm like, you fucking don't know anything, bro. And it was funny. He just had no idea how impactful the Twin Towers were or anything like that. I'm like, bro, you came into this world and you were staring at a smartphone, all right? Like by the time you knew what anything was, you already had smartphones out.
Damn. Oh my God, that reminds me. I found this thing this morning and I wanted to go through it and see if any of y'all got more than 0 points on this. It's Never Have I Ever, the retro edition. And it says, give yourself 1 point for everything you've never done. And it says, used a rotary phone, used a floppy disk, used a typewriter, taken photos with a film camera, listen to music on a CD, listen to music on a cassette tape, listen to music on a vinyl record, listen to music on a Walkman, listen to music on a boombox, watched a video from a VHS tape, sent or received a fax, had a MySpace account, had an AOL email address, accessed the internet by dial-up, used a phone book, sent a postcard, used a paper map to get somewhere, owned a dictionary, owned an encyclopedia, paid for something with a paper check. I've done every single one of those goddamn things.
I only didn't do like a few things.
That first, I didn't do the
like
first
three
one.
things I didn't do.
You never did the rotary phone, Tony?
I don't think I've ever sent a postcard.
I've sent a postcard.
I definitely did. We had like a pen pal project back in like elementary school or something.
I got 2 points. I've never sent a fax.
What?
I've never sent a fax either. Yeah,
I think I've given people documents to send faxes, but I myself have never played with a fax.
Oh, and you know what? I've actually sent a fax. So yeah, I've sent a fax.
And I never had a MySpace account. Okay,
really?
I was
That's
protesting
crazy.
social media even back then. I was like, I ain't fucking with this shit. It was my era. I could have had a MySpace account. I just refused to. I had an AOL account. So.
I guess it makes sense that I've got the 0 because I'm the oldest on the podcast.
No, yeah. Floppy disks were hilarious for me. I used to fucking fuck with it so much and I broke the fucking clip off every time. Luckily, I didn't need it that much, but oh yeah, those are fun. Damn, bro, we lived in an era where we had the best of everything. We experienced greatness.
He just listed a whole list of things that sucked.
A lot of them are pretty awful.
but-
Sending a fax is not great.
How about dial-up?
That sucks.
Bro, that
Having
was
to
the worst.
rewind VHSs? Come on now.
I'd never rewind.
You
them shits.
ever watch? Yo, we used to watch the same movie so many times back in the day that the little cover in the front of the tape would like snap off. So I used to just
Damn.
jam VHS tapes like film side first right into the. I used to like have to like tilt the little VCR door up to like get it in there. That way I'm not like fucking up the film.
VHS. What a great little medium, huh? If you watch a tape enough, every time you watch it, the quality just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, we have movies where lines are just like appearing in the middle of the movie. It's like
I'm trying to think.
sucked.
What is VHS? What's the name of VHS? Like, what's the that's an acronym, obviously. What's the full
I have no
word?
idea what V. I've never looked up. I would assume the V stands for video, but I don't know what the H and S stand for.
It's video home system.
That's crazy. My whole life never really cared to ask that question.
One fired thing about VHS that basically from the ending of VHSs until like we got pretty strongly in the digital age, there was like a gap in time where people didn't really have a means of recording what they watched unless they had like they paid for like those expensive DVRs or they had like a TiVo and things like that. But like back in the day, you could like pop a blank tape into your VCR if you synchronize the time and you really want to watch Ricky Lake. All right, Ricky Lake is coming on at 3:30. You could put the VCRs. Be like, yo, start recording at 3:30. I want you to record for an hour and a half. You can set that whole shit up. When you get home from school, you could watch Ricky Lake. Yeah, no kids ever wanted to watch Ricky Lake. All right, I watched the first 90s show that my mom used to watch Ricky Lake every day. It was like Jerry Springer, or like I don't know what the equivalent today is, but
I watched all that nonsense on sick days from school. Just stay home and just watch whatever terrible television was on daytime television.
Those are good days. I remember doing that for Dragon Ball Z. Because that shit, you could never miss a fucking thing. Bro, I remember doing the whole looking for the best Super Saiyan fucking picture on the internet and then printing it out and just thinking that like, I got the best one. Like, some kid shit, bro.
Kids did stupid shit, and they probably still do stupid shit like that. But I know what you're saying, Tony. We used to go so hard. It's like we would go online to find the best looking like Super Saiyans. Like, yo, this picture looks crazy. We would print the paper out and then trace it, like you drew it, and then be like, yo, look at this shit. I was like, what the fuck? What kind of? We were smoking some weird shit.
I even went to the point and used the projector. How the projector used to put the little paper on and project. I used to do that, and that's how I used to trace it out perfectly. Because people would just do it on their desk, but like, bro, that's not the best way to trace.
I used to when I was in like second or third grade. Here is my brief stint as a pure capitalist. When I was in second or third grade, I used to buy the Game Informer magazines, and then I would photocopy the cheat code section because I had that tips and tricks cheat code section out of the back. I would photocopy that, and I'd sell it to kids at school for 25 cents per cheat code.
What a capitalist.
How the fuck you used to give them per cheat code? You used to like cut.
I think I was cutting it out.
That's nuts. You want infinite ammo or max health in GTA? I got both of them shit. And so give me $1, I'll give you 5 cheats. All right.
Some real capitalist shit. That's crazy. Well, yeah, that's fucking wild. Well, I'll tell you what. I was talking with somebody the other day, and
who?
A couple friends from work, and a couple other friends. Piece of shit.
Fucking the most Tony energy right there.
I know,
You'll bring up anything and Tony wants to know who. You're like, yo, the other day I was with some people. Who are you with? Who? And you're like, Rick and Gina. And he's like, all right. And I'm like, what did that add for you? What did that do for you? It didn't do nothing. Why do you want to know who?
That's good because you never know. You got to know who, all right? But anyways, I was talking with a couple friends, and a good topic came up. And it's about relationships and how roles should be swapped between the man and his wife. And I wanted to see what you guys think about that. Like if you and your wife had to swap roles, or your significant other, should I say? Like, is there a problem? You guys find like you can do it, can't?
For me, it would fucking suck.
Yeah?
Because, yeah, I mean, it means I still have to get up and go to work. You know, me and my wife both work. But it wouldn't mean that I would do more shit around the house. My wife is better than me, okay? She does more things around the house. You know, she'd be cooking, she'd be cleaning, and I do those things. She just does it more.
Yeah.
And yeah. I don't want to do it more, which is why I don't do it now. So I wouldn't want it.
But I mean, like,
Although she's been on maternity leave for the last 2 months, 3 months now. And it's been lit. She's just been, in the crib, getting shit done, hanging out with the kid, She's still tired, but I wouldn't want to do that. I'd rather work than just be with my beautiful son that I love so much. But it's hard being with a baby crying and shit.
Absolutely.
I'd rather work. Work is easier than that, to be honest.
I am too social, I think, to want to be like a stay-at-home dad or something. I wouldn't get that recharge time because you don't get that social recharge from talking to kids all day. There's a certain age they have to hit before you really get that social recharge from talking to kids. I don't want to talk about Paw Patrol with a 3-year-old all day. That's not going to sustain me from within my needs.
I've done that with Luca and Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm like, I was like, yo, Luca, you think Sonic's really that fast? He'll look at me. Dad. I'm like, all right, bet. All right, you answered my question. I caught myself doing it, but yeah, I agree with you. I think I'm a social as well. It's just, I don't know. You got to give it up to them. It's definitely difficult. You don't get no sleep time, no downtime for anything. As soon as your man comes home, you're just like, all right, take the baby, let me get a break. And then that doesn't even happen half the times.
So are we only speaking in like marriage and kids terms, or what if like just
Partners.
a man and a woman?
Or a man,
I like
man,
where
or
you're
woman.
going with this because I think more women should ask men out.
I agree.
Yes.
I
That's-
think there's a stigma to doing that. Like, I don't know if it's as much as it used to be. I know back in the 90s, like if a girl asked you out, it's like, oh, that's because she's easy. That's because
She's a whore. We don't want to, which is absurd.
yeah, it's
had-
ridiculous.
I've had women, because I've told them, like, why don't you just go talk to them? She's like, what, he's going to think I'm a whore? I'm like, what? And it's like, no.
I could see that, though, why they would feel pressure not to do it. I mean, they don't want to be judged. Back then, it was a judgy. I mean, it's still judgy now, but it was hard. If a woman was showing any aggression, not even aggression, like the initial approach, it'd be like, damn, girl, you thirsty right now. Like, all right, bet. Like, it was, yeah. It sucks. That's crazy.
They used to do it differently. Like, I had those girls that would like, they would hurt me when I was in elementary. They'd punch me in my arm, and I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, I was in 2nd grade. They would bully me, but she kind of liked me because she'd just always sit next to me and she'd always be around me, but she'd also be bullying me.
That's how boys used to do it too. They used to hit the girl because they liked them. They'll pick on them because they liked them.
Yeah, going back to the making the first move thing, I honestly think women should ask men out more often. Like, I feel like men are in a really fucked situation where they're like having to play all these little games. Like, does she like me? Does she not like me? Like that idea that like a woman can ask out most men, and most men will be interested in going out for like dinner or to hang out. Or the other way around, women will reject your ass. Like. And that shit is soul crushing, right? And then you got to play the whole game where like women could feel harassed. Women have all these things that like, because of the behavior of men and society and different things like that. But there's all this like baggage when it comes to interacting with the opposite sex that it's like it would be way less ambiguous if women went, and made that first move. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, men can also be harassed. I had this. I had someone that I went on a couple of dates with, and we just weren't clicking, so we stopped talking. Right? She texted me for months afterwards, asking, like, just bugging me, asking how my day was, and I was like, "Hey, it's going all right." I thought we were going our separate ways. I didn't. I thought we weren't going to do the friendship thing. I'm busy with work, and then a month later, I get another text. It was just constant texting, not quite to the stage of harassment, obviously, but I can see how that situation could be different. You could see the gateway to harassment, at least,
It does go both ways. I've definitely had my fair share of, I had a girlfriend that during COVID, she messaged me. She's like, I hope you and your entire family catch COVID and die.
Yes.
And I'm like, damn. I was like, I haven't talked to you in years. She's like, I don't care. I hope your family dies from COVID. I'm like, oh, shit.
But
like,
She was charging that up. She was waiting for a pandemic. She wasn't sure. The Ebola thing happened. She's like, it's not big enough. I gotta wait till there's a bigger crisis. Okay, it's like swine flu. Nah, it ain't. COVID-19 is a word. This is hitting. All right, millions of people. All right, Doey, this is the one. Yeah, that's funny. I do. What do you guys think? Right, and I think Tony was kind of alluding to it. Is there an issue with like if you went like ultra old school traditional, right, where a man works and a man does certain things around the house like mowing the lawn, fixing cars, blah blah, like the stereotypical male role, and then the woman takes care of the kids, cooks, cleans, doesn't work, stays home, blah blah. Is there anything like, what do y'all think about those roles swapping? Like a man staying home with the kids, cooking and cleaning and teaching his kids, and the woman is out there getting bread, mowing the lawn, fixing cars.
I think in this economy, we're getting more and more away from that being a thing that people can do. I think that we're living more and more in a society where both partners in a relationship have to work. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And actually, I think I sent y'all the link once. I came across this weird YouTube channel where it was like these super old interviews. And it was like they were in like Australia, and they were interviewing these like these men, just random people on the street, and asking them if they cook and clean at home, and all these kind of like questions like this. And this is like the 1940s, 1930s or something like that. And most of the men, not all of them, but most of the men actually said that they do help with the cooking and cleaning. Some of them said they do more of the cooking and cleaning because their wife, has other stuff that she's doing all day. I thought that was just interesting that there was we picture these traditional like gender roles in relationships in terms of like back in the 1940s and the 1930s, and maybe the reality of that time period was a little different than we think, because they didn't have the modern appliances. So imagine how much harder it was to like wash, do laundry, and also try to do all the dishes and try to do all these other house chores with one person. It was impossible. It took so much longer to do things. So the men did contribute more, and they did have to step up a bit more when it came to house life.
Yeah,
I do think
I know in my house, my dad just worked, and he would mow the lawn and he would fix things, but he wasn't cook. He would make like fried rice like one time a year. You know what I'm saying? My mom was cooking, cleaning, taking care of us, educating us. I grew up with a very traditional household in that respect. And my mother worked after like all of us went to school. She got a job and shit. But like when we were all growing up, my mother, that's why I always say, like, I love my dad and all that. Like, I'm not shitting on him at all. But like, my mother raised me. I was with her all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that there was like some kind of shift. I think something happened with our boomer parents, where they decided that there were these gender roles and these responsibilities that fell specifically on women and men that didn't really quite exist to the extent that they did prior to the generation. They just kind of made it up that these were like the traditional roles. That's my suspicion. I need to do some more research to really like narrow it down. But I was watching a bunch of these old interviews in like the 1920s and 30s and 40s, and they did not seem to be like matching what I would expect from like boomer parents, which granted, that was like the silent generation and the greatest generation and all that shit, right? So
I mean, most of it too, like, kind of stems like, for now, like the modern time now is like the bigger issue is, does the woman make more money than you? Because a lot of people feel like if she makes more money than you, then you should automatically default to being at stay at home and taking care and cooking and cleaning and all that shit with the kids. So it's like, is the money really the setting standard now? Like, who makes the most money will just default to working and the other person just stays at home? Because a lot of people have problems with that. I don't know. Would you guys be able to do that? Be like, my wife may make more money than me. Fuck it. I got to do all the home shit. Or is it just like, no?
I think it goes on a case by case basis, and I think you just talk to your partner personally. I think if you guys have that conversation and that's like what y'all come down to, I don't know if I would feel comfortable now working, but in some capacity, making my own money, just like asking someone for money feels real weird.
This is the struggle that a lot of women went through. I mean, this is why abusive relationships are so hard to get out of, right? Because the woman's not working, the man is working, and it gives that extra sense of control over it. So there's definitely some there'd be some fear there for me, for sure. I mean, honestly, though, like the question's a little flawed too, though, right? Because just because a person is making more money doesn't mean they necessarily enjoy going to work more than the person that's making less money. Maybe the mental stress of making that much, all the work that goes into having that higher wage, maybe it's not worth it. So like Doey said, it's case by case. You have a discussion. You figure out what you want to do. Figure out if there's a good like payoff between like the wage that you're making, the mental stress of working that job, the ability for one person to not work, or if you want both people to work. There's a whole discussion there, right? Because people that feel like some kind of way about like, oh, I can't have my partner making more money than me because she's a woman, that shit's ridiculous. That's would be the least of my concerns in that kind of situation.
I feel like flipped it. I think women don't want men that make less than them traditionally. Like
They don't.
I think these women that are educated, which women are being educated, they get educated at a higher rate than men. I think it's just, I don't think anybody making that much money wants to date somebody that's making half of what they're making.
But that's the thing, though, too. That's I think that's where, not sexist, but the bias, where it comes to, if the man's making the money and she's kind of, but whatever, then the man could support her, right? And it's no problem. But if she was making the money, she wouldn't do that for the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'd be like, oh, nah, you got to get your shit together. Like, I ain't going to support you. But why is that?
I can't say that for sure, because I've definitely seen my fair share of men. I don't know if it was a healthy way of doing it, but just straight up living off of their women. Like, I've seen it happen before.
Same.
And these niggas pretty much don't do nothing. And they pretty much don't got nothing going for them. And they're just leeching off of a woman that's working and shit like that.
So I've definitely seen my fair share of men leeching off of women.
Yeah.
But I also, I kind of know where Tony's coming from, because I've met quite a few women, and of course it's anecdotal. I don't know what the data says that women would do, but I know plenty of women that if their man was making not just like a little bit less, but just enough less that they would be like, nah, like you need to figure out how to support yourself type of shit. I've even know women that'll say shit like a man's money is the shared family money, but the woman that a woman makes, that's for her to do what she wants to do with. You know what I'm saying?
I've heard that
Which
before,
I think
too.
that's just crazy. That's like
So
if we
super
a
whack.
family, we pulling our resources together. Otherwise, fuck off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From my perspective. But.
Yeah, I'm kind of with that too. Like, my ideal in a situation like that is we put money into a shared fund for household things, and maybe you have your own situation going on. But none of this in my particular, like, my preference, it involves them not knowing my money situation. I know we've had the talk before about like it's not even my partner's business how much money I'm making. And I think that's ridiculous. I think you should have a good idea of what your partner is making so you can make good financial decisions as a unit.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, like me and my wife, we don't even have a joint. We have one joint bank account that's like we put money together for like our children, like that we could take out of to do things and stuff like that. But she has her own money, I have my own money. We both know how much we both make, and we split bills accordingly based on whatever seems like a fair split. But I find it works better that way, because I just bought an Apple Watch 2 days ago. I don't need nobody looking at my bank account talking about, oh, you just spent the Apple Watch. Is that now cutting into your money, or is that cutting into her money? Like that, there's a weirdness there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But
I
who's
feel
gonna
like
ask
as
you
long
that
as I'm
question?
saving the money that I'm saving, what's up?
But who in the right mind will ask you that fucking question other than Lisa? Like, that's, or your wife. Like, that shit's beats. Like,
But those are the questions that come up when you
Oh,
have a
100%.
shared
Yeah.
account.
yeah, no,
Yeah, that's what he's
100%.
saying.
You share an account with somebody. If 2 checks go into that account and somebody spends $800 on something, you're like, well, you better hold up. What are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, now you're spending the money that could have gone to other things, or it gets very complicated. Like, and I personally feel like, look, I could buy you a gift and that's nice. We could do gestures for each other. But if you want something, Save for yourself, and I can't ever complain about anything you're spending your money on. As long as a family, we're saving the money that we're supposed to be saving. We're investing into like our 401ks and things like that the way that we're supposed to be. I can't complain at all about how you spend your money.
For sure.
I mean? Yeah.
I think that's actually very healthy way of thinking about it, personally.
Would y'all feel any certain way if your partner was making more money than you? I don't think I would, honestly. Like, why would that affect how I feel as a man or anything?
I say culturally, in my culture, it's so much the other way, and I don't think, like I said, I don't think women in the Latin and the Hispanic culture think it's like sexy for their man to be making way less than them. I think they just the way the culture is.
I think it's just any type.
I could date a girl that worked at Burger King. I could date down, and I wouldn't even like. It wouldn't bother me. I can't say that it's like that 100% for women, because like I said, I've seen women date down. I've seen, you know what I mean? If the looks are there, and height has a lot to do with it as well. They'll date down. It just depends. You know what I mean? On what you look like.
The question is, are they dating down? Like, because if you look at it from financially, yeah, of course, you're making an amount of money. This person's working at Burger King. People would say, "Oh, you're dating down," but it's like, all right, but what's that person putting into the relationship?
Facts.
If they're cooking and they're cleaning and they're having sex with you and they look fly and that's what you value, then you're dating at your level. Like, you're bringing the thing that you could bring, they're bringing the thing that they could bring, and everybody's happy with the arrangement, right? Like, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, that's the problem in general with like rating systems and things like that. Like trying to like the whole old sexist thing of like, oh, she's a 7, that girl's an 8, that girl's a 9, whatever the fuck. Trying to compare people is just, it's a flawed thing to do. People have so many different things they offer to you, especially when you're talking about like from a relationship and whatnot, that like this idea of dating down, dating up and whatnot, I think it's just a flawed idea in general. I don't know that there is really such a thing. We're saying that some people are lesser than us because they make less money, or
it's mostly the woman. Like, women, when they see
I think it was mostly men that I grew up like using like the 1 to 10 rating system.
Oh no, the rating,
rating system is all men, yeah.
And I think that's where it roots from. You start getting into this idea that you have to compare everyone to everyone else and figure out where they rate in your worldview.
Even your inside circle, your friends, like, they'll be like, "Oh, you dating that dude? Making more than him? You got to level up. You can't let someone bring you down." Like, it be the friends that will literally make or break a relationship in the beginning stages of it. You know what I mean? Like,
if you're allowing your friends to make and break your relationship, I think you have more problems than just. You know,
I mean, you go to your friends and be like, "Yo, you think everyone's done it?" Like, you start dating a chick, like, "Yo, what you think about it?" Or do this and that. You just ask opinions. Sometimes it does sway. You know what I mean? Like, you date a chick that has 3 kids, or you date a dude that has 3 kids, 3 different baby mamas, or whatever. It's like, do you really want to jump in that struggle bus with all that? Nah. You talk to your boys about, "Yo, she's cool, down to earth, personality's good," but then your boy be like, "Yo, but she got 3 baby daddies and 3 kids," or he got 3 baby daddies or 3 baby mamas and 3 kids. Like, you'll be like, "Nah, it's not worth the headache," even though she's
like,
cool.
for me, I personally don't want that. And if any of y'all were getting into a situation with 3 baby daddies and 3 kids and shit, I would be like, "Yo, you sure you want to get into that?" But I wouldn't frame it in the sense of, you're dating down, that's beneath you, or like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't put that type of energy. I would be like, "Yo, look, you're walking into a delicate situation that involves multiple people. You're going to be having to be in charge of multiple people's kids. There's going to be, unless the co-parenting's on point, there's going to be a number of confrontations of how to do things. It's a more complicated situation than if you were just dating somebody who had no kids. Like, that's undeniable. Yeah,
for
sure.
sure.
I don't see a wrong with telling your friend that. But I do think it's something wrong to be like, you're dating down, she's beneath you. You're gonna do that? Like, shit like that. It's like, you know.
Yeah.
And I know plenty of people that would do that shit.
Yeah.
Cause some hating ass motherfuckers.
You know what's also hating? Y'all not hitting that subscribe button, the share button, the
Facts.
like button.
Let's get those
Facts.
likes up,
Get
bro.
them shits all the way the fuck up.
Shout out Tedley.
Mm.
All right. Shout out
Shout out to
him.
Tedley.
Tedley
Tedley
is
dropped one of the illest comments. What in the Nazi fuck is that flag back there?
Also,
It's not a
he-
Nazi. It's not a Nazi flag.
Do I need to address this? This is the
You've done
United.
it.
This is the United Farm Workers flag. I got this because on my mom's side, we come from a family of migrant workers and farm workers, and I had a great grandpa that marched with Cesar Chavez back when he was actually in the United Farm Workers Association. Like it's an ancestral thing for it's my my family heritage.
There you go.
It's not a Nazi flag.
We don't
His
report
step
no
is
national
very far away.
socialists.
Very far away from the anything German related.
Even better, some would say that they're trying to, watch what you're doing, because who's to say that that is not what that is? He just folded it up perfectly. They just wanted to verify. They just wanted to make sure a brown man supported some crazy shit. They're going to see what the fuck's going on, Even so, I had a conversation with somebody, right? And
Another conversation.
about the flag, about Mateo's flag.
You be talking to mad people.
I be talking to mad people, bro. And they asked me too, like, yo, that dude's Spanish, right? I was like, yeah. Why you got Nazi flag? Is that like some type of stunt?
Nah.
I'm like, bro, it's not Nazi flag, bro. Like, you really gotta look at it. It's not a Nazi flag. And I had to explain to him. He's like, oh wow, I looked at that shit the whole wrong way. I'm like, yeah, bro, this a Mexican being a Nazi. I mean, that'll be your first. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, the eagle kind of looks like the Tecate eagle, if you want to go that route.
If you want to go with the beer, facts. It's a Nazi flag.
Yeah, I just looked this up real quick. Apparently, our first lady, Jill Biden, there's some false claims about her giving a speech in front of a Nazi flag. The flag is the United Farm Workers flag.
That's insane.
There you go. This happened.
Question for you boys. Do you think it's good for these sovereign citizens or the police auditors to be out there trying to police the police? You think that's a smart fucking idea?
No. You
Well,
see,
they're two different things.
You
some-
already
there's
fucked
two.
this up.
you already
No,
fucked
how would I
up.
fucked it up? There's two different things. I understand
No.
that.
Sorry, I'm the rando commenter.
for
I felt aggressed.
there's no part of me that agrees with what the sovereign citizen stuff, because I think it's just a ridiculous idea. Police auditors, though, I don't really know enough about. And I think Doey's got some insight on that, right?
Police auditors are people who basically make sure that the police in their area understand the laws and where the citizens can take the law and how far the police can push back. And so basically they kind of keep the cops in check. They record the cops to make sure the cops aren't saying any wild shit. They're just making sure that cops are doing what they're supposed to be doing and citizens can do what they're supposed to do. Now, there is a level in severity to the things that auditors do that could be viewed as more inflammatory than others. Some could be recording at a police station, like, you know what I mean? Recording and it's a public lobby. And they're allowed to record. And if the police want to stop them, lawfully they can. And the police need to understand that they can be recorded in their lobby doing their job. There's nothing unlawful with that. And basically the auditors go there and do that to make sure the law is being upheld.
Are these like self-elected people? Are they putting themselves forward for this position? Is this a paid position for police auditors?
I do not think these people are getting paid for it. And
These are like
gotta
random YouTube people doing this shit for clout.
Are they just part of are they part of organizations, or they're just doing this shit completely for clout?
They're probably on the libertarian subreddit, and they're like, "All right, let's go out there." Because what Doey's talking about on the very low end of how confrontational this could be, you're talking about somebody just walking into a police station to file a complaint, and they got their video recording out, or some cop is making an arrest and somebody's recording them from across the street or something like that. That's like on the lowest end. On the high end is like a group of guys walking down the street with AR-15s and scary looking guns all strapped up on them, like held and all of that type of shit. And then people start calling the cops. When the cops show up, they see all these guys with guns. They're like, all right, this isn't fucking normal. But lawfully in a lot of states, you could have an open carry state, and if you're not breaking a law or doing anything suspicious, then the police officers have no right to force you to identify yourself, to detain you, to question you, or anything like that. And a lot of these guys, they're just out there doing this shit to. I honestly, personally think it's for clout. All right, they want to do it to make videos and put them on the internet. They'll claim that they're doing it to keep the police officers in check.
I honestly think it's also a little bit of mix of them trying to show people like, hey, these are actual laws that you can do. Like, I didn't know that until I saw the video years ago. Like, of the dude carrying air. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is this numbnuts doing? And he's like, oh, this is my God-given right. Like, I can walk around with this. It's a law. I can do this. I can do that. I didn't even know that. I had to search that shit up and be like, oh, wow, motherfuckers can really carry a AR walking around in public like it's nothing. I think it's beast. I think it's a little ridiculous. I think you're bringing attention that's not good. You know what I mean? Because you get a nervous cop, he gonna shoot your ass.
Yeah, I don't think that I don't see any reason to need to carry a long gun in public. I barely see. I also barely see a reason to like concealed carry or anything like that. I've never walked around a city fearing for my life that I'm going to get into a confrontation where I'm going to need a gun to defend myself. But carrying a long gun in particular, like walking around with like a shotgun or something in the city seems so wild to me that anyone would feel that's something they need to do.
I agree with that part, but not with that second part about concealed carry. I think everyone should conceal carry.
Tony, I think your life is very different than mine then, because I don't feel a need to have to carry a weapon to defend myself in my everyday life.
You ever watch The Kingsman?
Mm-hmm.
And Tony's life is like the church scene where everybody's killing everybody. So like he needs a gun to defend himself from those types of situations.
But you just never know. Like you could be in a fucking Walmart and some gunmen come in and start blasting. You just don't know. I'm not saying
the best move for survival in that situation is to run.
So Pucho brought up the part that he thinks it's for clout. I think it's for something else. And notoriously, these people want to sue the police and they want to get a lawsuit. They want to catch the police breaking the law somehow, so that they either have to settle or something like that. So this for me is what it also feels like, teaching people about their rights so that if shit goes down, you potentially could come up on a lawsuit or some shit like that, is what it feels like a lot of the times. Because a lot of the headlines of these things are lawsuit and these police messed up. Like it's always like something like that.
I can see that. I just don't agree with it, because it's just like they're really going to waste their time. They're going to get their guns pulled. They're going to go to jail for a couple thousands. Like,
I saw
really
one.
Worth it?
I saw one specifically. There was this young little kid flipping off the police as they drove by. This little kid. The police stopped him and started harassing him. And he's like, I didn't break any laws. I didn't do anything wrong. And they're just kind of just harassing him. And how do you feel about flipping the police off and calling them names as you drive by and stuff like that? And then they come and stop you. How do you feel about that?
It's the same thing as you do it to a random stranger. You're going downtown, you'd be like, yo, fuck you. At some point, you're going to you're going to be causing him to be aggressive with you. He's going to come up. He's going to confront you.
Police aren't supposed to. In the perfect world, police shouldn't succumb to instincts to go and try to put someone in their place just because they said "fuck you" or something while they're walking down the street. That's not supposed to be the role of police in the world.
What was that
I don't
face,
know.
Pooch?
I agree with the idea of auditing the police. I think that like the idea that like a lot of the investigations into like police shootings and things like that are conducted by a branch of the police. I think that's a ridiculous idea to me. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what is a better system, but I think that police auditing themselves to see if the police broke any rules, I think that's a flawed idea in and of itself.
That is by
I also
definition
agree.
a conflict of interest. Like
Yeah.
by definition. No, I was shaking my head because you try to emphasize in a perfect world. It's like, no, we all know that if somebody's exercising their First Amendment right, such as using a hand gesture or speaking words that are non-violent words, anybody puts their hand on them, it's wrong.
So
straight up. You can say fuck you to
is
anybody.
Not a violent word. That's not a violent word. Fuck you.
Fuck you?
I
No,
don't-
where's the
I don't-
violence?
I don't think
Where's
fighting-
the threat?
I don't think fighting
Oh,
words
right.
exist anymore. There used to be a legal definition for like fighting words, and these were like if someone said statements like this to you, you could legally fight them. This is like a super old school thing. I don't think that exists under the law in America, and I don't think
Back
it
in the
has at
day-
any point.
Back in the Western days, you call somebody yella, they could shoot you on the spot. All right, they're like, you can't call me no coward. All right, nah, like no, fuck you's not violent. Violent is I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
That's a
hit you.
threat.
I'm gonna.
Very different.
Yeah, that's what violence is, Tony.
I would say fuck you is maybe causing somebody to do
I don't
violence
know.
to you.
I watched enough no jumper videos
Oh,
to
here we
know
go.
you don't call anybody from LA a bitch or the West Coast. Them niggas, they take that word bitch like serious.
Almost like suck my dick in New York. That's probably the same. What is
I don't know. I, don't think so.
I thought that's just how you greeted people in
That's
New
how
York.
you suck my dick, your mother, your bitch, or some shit. Like, you know what I mean? It's always it's like an essence of New York. I love it so much because two people they'll go into a suck my dick off like very quickly. You're almost waiting for it to happen. You're like, when is this nigga gonna tell him to suck his dick? And then when it happens, you're just like, I knew it.
But now going back to the cop shit, those motherfuckers will harass you for sure. You go and start flicking them off, you'll catch the right one, they'll come fucking harass you. And they're gonna be and then you'll be like, oh, I don't gotta show you shit. That's this and that. Once you tell a cop how to do their job, that shit's a fucking boom, that's it. They're hot. They don't give a fuck. If they don't fuck with you, and let's say you tell a cop that shit, right, how to do his job. If they don't mess with you, they don't harass you, they're not gonna say nothing. Meanwhile, if your ass get jumped or get beat up by some guys, they not gonna help you either. That's how I think some cops will operate, bro. They be like, you know what, fuck you.
Yeah, and that's fucked up because you're basically saying that they're not doing their job properly.
Maybe
like
they
the-
need to be audited.
Yeah, maybe they need to be audited. But yeah,
You know-
I honestly, sorry to answer your question though, the people flicking the police off, things like that, yeah, they're fucking idiots. Like, at least me, I don't have the privilege to walk around doing that type of shit because I don't want to have confrontations with police.
So
Same.
that's the way I feel. I'm like, so what bothers me is when they're trying to put you in cuffs, right? When you're at that moment, it's like people go into either fight or flight mode. Like, they want neither of the. It just, for me, I don't think I could survive a situation like I would just listen to the police. Call me a bootlicker. But once you're trying to arrest me, just arrest me and then we'll figure everything out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a criminal.
Well, I mean, even the legal advice. There's this video that goes around every now and then. It's these two lawyers. They're smoking big, like fat cigars. They're smoking stogies, and they're like, let me give you the advice on what you need to do when you have an interaction with a cop. Like, just shut the fuck up. They're like, just don't say anything. Ask them if you're being detained, and then shut the fuck up. Don't answer their questions. Don't follow if they just sit down. If you're being arrested, let them arrest you. And shut the fuck up. Don't say anything because that's the best advice when you're dealing with cops. If you're dealing with a cop, if you're not being arrested, you don't need to tell him anything. If you are being arrested, don't tell him anything because everything you say is going to be used in the case against you. You don't need to go and start telling the cop fuck you, I'll fuck you up, blah blah blah. It's just going to make the situation worse.
I do think though, there has to be like I won't shut the fuck up. Like, but I'm not gonna aggravate it even more. Like, if we met somebody, oh, what are you doing? Show me your ID. I'm gonna be like, no. Are you detaining me? You're not? No? Oh, okay then. I'm like, fuck out of here. I ain't gotta show you shit.
I do forget if you are legally obligated to show a cop your identification or not.
Nah.
I think there's.
There's-
I
there's
think there's.
no-
How does that hurt anyone by showing the cop their ID?
Why do I gotta show you my ID? What are you
Yeah,
stopping me? Like,
but
why?
who does it hurt?
Doesn't hurt
Well,
no one, but I'm not gonna show you ID for no fucking reason. What do you
My-
need
my
my
I
ID
concern-
mean,
for?
there's levels of unreasonableness, right? Like if somebody barged into your house and was like, "Let me see your driver's license just to prove that you live at this address," you're gonna be like, "Under what fucking authority do you think you could do this to me?"
Yeah.
I think it's the same exact argument for a police officer trying to. Now there is an answer of how quickly can I get out of this situation is probably to comply with a police officer, but that doesn't necessarily coincide with what is correct. I think a lot of people get stuck on this is wrong. I'm not going to go along with it. But
I think there's a fear too. Like once you give a cop your ID, now you're engaged in an interaction with them. They can hold on to that ID, and it kind of holds you into the interaction with the cop until they hand it back to you.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, you're stuck there until he releases you. Now at that point, you're kind of detained because you're not gonna leave your fucking ID.
Yeah, but I've also never seen any of those encounters go well for anyone.
Yeah, I mean,
Especially of color.
we do get the selection bias too, right? Because the shit that goes viral, the shit that we end up seeing on the internet is the bad interactions. You don't see like the good interactions, and there could be the argument it's because there's less good interactions than bad interactions.
I've had a cop
and
ask me
most of the
before.
time, the ones that don't go well, the cop will be like, "Okay, you're under arrest." At that point, that literally means you are being detained. That's the moment where you just go, "All right, I'm not going to talk anymore because I don't want to self-incriminate," and then you just let them detain you and do whatever they got to do, but just don't talk. But I don't think there's anything wrong to be like, "Yo, am I being detained? Let me see your driver's license. Officer, am I being detained?" And force them to answer that. Once they say yes, you have to physically do what they ask you to do, but you don't have to verbally comply with anything. You know what I mean? You could just be like, "Okay, like go ahead and detain me. I'm gonna not talk. I'm not gonna self-incriminate and just shut the fuck up." Like,
Yep.
And if they say you're not being detained, then your follow-up question is, "Okay, am I free to go?"
Yep.
Just force them to answer those questions. Like,
You don't even got to say that. You just go.
nah,
You're not being detained.
You'll get your ass beat. You don't.
Wow.
Tony's getting tased,
Am I being
bro.
detained? No, just turn around, walk away. You get tackled, bro.
I've had a cop in downtown West Palm like just come up to me and be like, because there was a fight or something that just happened down the street. You could see it, and I'm walking that way because my car is parked that way. Cop asked me, "Yo, show me your ID." You know this? I'm like, "For what?" "Show me your ID." I was like, "Am you arresting me?" Like, I'm just walking in my car. I said, "Show me your ID." I was like, "Yo." His partner came up. And he was like, "Yo, he wasn't even involved. This and that." I was like, "What a dick!" Of course. Like, why would I? Like, I'm just a bystander, bro. Walking to my car. A fight broke out. Why the fuck are you trying to come ask me a question? Did you see something? I'm gonna still tell you no. But it's just like, why you want my ID, bro? I'm not giving you my ID. For what?
Someone say you were a sovereign citizen. You were not complying to let me stop. You were an auditor.
I was
You
an
can't
auditor.
confuse the two.
Let's go into sovereign citizens now. What are sovereign citizens? You guys help me figure that out.
From my understanding, sovereign citizens believe that just because you're born in America doesn't mean you have to comply with the laws of America, because they never signed an agreement. They never entered into an agreement with the government of the United States of America that they would follow their laws and that they wanted to be a citizen of this country. So they believe that they're world citizens or sovereign citizens or whatever term they want to use. And because they never entered into this agreement, they don't have to follow the United States laws and procedures. So these kind of guys, they don't get driver's licenses and they drive down the road. They don't believe in paying taxes. They don't believe that they have to follow police instructions because the police are members of a nation and they're powered by an authority that they don't recognize. They're a whole different branch of crazy that I can't really get behind.
How do they survive in modern with banks and all this stuff like that? How do they like survive? What
Every single day of their lives. I am a sovereign citizen. You hold no right over me. I have the right to bank anywhere I wish. You know, probably like that.
So they go into a supermarket and they'll take all the stuff they need and just walk out and be like, "I'm a sovereign citizen."
Well, I mean, they still believe in the concept of like barter and exchanging of goods and things like that, from my understanding at least.
Yeah, I just think that their whole shtick is like, just because they were born here, they're not subject to the laws of this land. They didn't enter into that agreement with the government. Like, which is not crazy, like in the sense of like, it would be shitty, like if somebody was just like, you're subject to just these random rules that I'm imposing on you, just because type of shit. But it's like, though, it's really the only way society could work. So it's unfortunate, but so it's something that people don't consent into. They're just born here and they're forced into it. You know what I mean?
Imagine if we had like a ceremony at like the age of 18 where you had to go to the government and put your hand on like a Bible or something and swear to uphold like the state, like the laws of the United States.
It's when they make all the fucking 17-year-old kids sign up for selective service. Remember they do that? Y'all all did that in high school, right?
Yep.
I still got my selective service card in my wallet.
I even got mad that they
tore mine up. I'm an objective, what is it? A conscientious objector?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm reading this shit. I did not know, like, these guys are really, this is a fucking real fucking movement that it was only predominantly white people, but now people of color are obviously
What a surprise.
What
That
happened?
they're predominantly white.
No, yeah.
It's
So,
very like all this shit, even the auditors and all that type of shit. It's a very privileged position to be in. Like,
Yeah, I live my life trying to limit my interactions with cops. I'm not going out of my way to try to interact with cops.
so you're saying because they're white, they're going to get away with any police auditing that they do?
No, but I think that there's a lesser chance of conflict typically, just given, socioeconomic.
yeah,
I see that.
You see people trying to record a police interaction in the ghetto, and they get fucked up. They take their phone away. They
get arrested,
and all of that shit. And then you go and look at fucking another video of a guy walking down the street with an AR-15, and the cops peacefully, let the guy go away. And it's like, all right, there's a different treatment here. And to me, the guy walking down with the gun is the worst offender of our moral laws, I should say. Like, not, these things aren't written, but as a people, we kind of feel like you shouldn't be walking around flaunting your gun around. It makes people uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Some people would argue that them having the gun is what makes the interaction with the police go smoother. I don't know if I've subscribed to that viewpoint, but I know there's some people out there that believe that.
These sovereign citizen people, I just looked on YouTube real quick. They seem insufferable.
Yes.
Like, sovereign citizen doesn't understand traffic laws. What? Like, what? Sovereign citizen caught driving immediately after leaving jail suffers the consequences.
So I'm going to say you might be one of those people when you ride your bike around New York and not stopping at red lights.
Sure.
A little Idaho stop.
Yeah. Sovereign citizen gets tased trying to enter courtroom. No registration, no plates. A look into the rising sovereign citizens movement. I was like, half of these are driving infractions.
That's how they get caught, dude.
Do you guys think though, because you're pretty much going into saying like it's white privilege for them to do the auditing because they can get away with it without any bodily harm coming from them or whatever because they're treated differently.
A group of black people walking into just think about it. Just a group of black people coming in, filming. No, y'all can't do. It's not happening, bro. It's not going down like that. It's a white privilege thing for sure.
It's gonna be that video of the cop just over there, just walking down and just macing people in the face. Except it's gonna be a bunch of people with their phones out.
But you don't think that? I kind of agree with it, but I'm saying like you don't think that it also depends on the cop that's approaching them.
Oh, 100%, 100%. But I like we talked about I think on the previous episode, cops are terrible at de-escalation, and there needs to be a heavier focus on how to de-escalate without tasing people, without macing people, without trying to use violence, because I don't think violence is how you de-escalate a potentially violent situation. It just turns it into a violent situation.
And when I'm going with it, Pucho, because I saw your face, was that the numbers here is saying like, oh, the white people are privileged, that's why they do it, that's why it's different interactions. But I don't want to say that it's only basically their skin color. I want to say that it's also the cop who approaches them. If you get a dickhead cop, we all dealt with cops. Whether they're dickheads or cool cops, relaxed cops, it's like that right there is the numbers game. That's where it really... Like, unless you get the same cop with two different people doing the same thing, then you could really gauge like, okay, this is a race thing. It is a white privilege thing. But honestly, I think it's that numbers are skewed just because of the cop who's doing the interactions. That's all. I don't think it's
I think cops tend to be nicer to white people. Yeah,
I mean, there's lots of factors, right? Neighborhoods with higher rates of crime tend to get police to a higher level, and neighborhoods with higher rates of crime, typically in this country, they tend to be the neighborhoods that have more people of color. And maybe there's more incidents of crime there because there's more cops there, so they're catching more crime, and it's this vicious cycle of their own like bias being confirmed by their bias and their stereotyping. So there's a lot of factors. There's a lot of factors in why white privilege plays any aspect in bad interactions with the police.
And just to be clear, I actually never made a statement. You said that the auditors were mostly white, and then now people of color have started to become auditors. When you said they were mostly white, I said we were like, oh, that's not surprising. That was the statement. I never made a claim that
the sovereign citizens, not the police auditors. What I said.
No, you were reading.
It was
whoever the fuck. It doesn't matter. Oh. Sorry, you were reading something about some group of people being mostly white, and I said, I think Mateo said, "There's a surprise" or something, and like and I agree with him. That was it. None of us made the claim that like because they are white, the cops won't do anything to them. I don't think that's true. I think the cops are less likely to do things to them.
Yeah.
And I'm not even bringing in like a racist cop or anything like that. Like it could just be flawed training. It could be, what they see on the news. It could be so many reasons why. It could be a lot of reasons that aren't racist of why cops mistreat a particular race, more than others.
Yeah. I've seen white people get dogged out by the cops, though. So, like, I've something like, all right, they fucking that nigga. Ugh.
I just watched a
what
video.
What did he do? It must have been bad.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah.
I just watched a video this morning where this dude asked the cop why he was being arrested. The cop maced him, and then they arrested some white chick randomly that was just filming the interaction and asked the same question of why he was being arrested. The cop was like, "Yep, now you're arrested too." For no reason specified.
That's beast. That's when you can fucking sue. That's where the money comes into play, though, right there. But nah, I don't know. I just think it is kind of fucked, though. It's a true statement that privileged people can do certain things and kind of, fucking get away with that without any bodily harm or being arrested and shit. But yeah, I am in agreement with police being audited, honestly. That's
something I can agree to.
Someone's got to be like, yo, you're beasting, or you're like, yo, take your knee off his neck. Like, yo, you're abusing your law. Like, that shit does need to happen. And then police going over the tapes to see if the police were doing wrong, that's a big no-no. That's definitely a conflict of interest, and that shit needs to be handled.
Yeah, but I guess for me, I agree with cops should be audited. The question is, how does that auditing occur? And I don't like the idea of fabricating a situation to prove a point.
Yeah.
Like, I think if a cop is doing a misconduct, then they should be recorded and they should be outed and they should face whatever repercussions that misconduct, whatever the consequences of that are. But I don't think you should go out of your way to make it look like you're doing a crime or do something are going to piss cops off and then just to test what the cops would do. Like, to me, it feels similar to like when people would have the cops would set up like a car on the side of the road that has the keys in it, it's running, all that type of shit. And they're just looking for the person to go, oh, is that door open, to steal a car? It feels like you're setting them up. Like, I don't like that shit. Like,
that feels super predatory.
And shout outs to the two viewers also in our YouTube channel. That
it's a lot of people.
Well, there was like two men guys, Mr. E-Man and Frank W. They were going back and forth about this. Probably why this whole conversation is stemmed from. And it's just funny how how people can have two completely different views, but really can't see what's the real thing we're talking about here. We talking about
They're not having a real conversation. I love it. I love the engagement on our video, and B, I just love just the sheer ridiculousness of the conversation. So I'm all for it. It's entertaining me. But they're not having a fucking conversation. They're just highbrowing each other. Oh, you don't know about the rule of 1989. And then the other guy's like, and you are a communist, sir. And they're so politely insulting each other. It's just so
I love
ridiculous.
He's like, you keep repeating yourself over and over. I keep repeating myself because you keep repeating yourself over and over. It's like, what the fuck? Like, yo, that shit, that was a crazy and funny interaction, man. Y'all, shout out.
Is it Frank W? He ends all his comments with, but you'll keep doing what you're doing. Whatever you're going to do, you'll do it again. LOL. Me and Dory were sitting there playing Far Cry 6 last night, taking turns. We read the whole conversation.
I was like, okay, you be Frank W, I'll be E-Man.
So shout out to you guys. We love you.
Yeah.
Facts. It was great. Awesome. Yo, I do think, though, do you think it's wrong for you guys to discipline your significant other's kid?
So you didn't talk to somebody about this?
No, I didn't. Not this time. I'm asking you guys a legit question.
This is such a wild topic to me.
Discipline in what way?
Whether it's spankings or just saying like, yo, or just not yelling at them, just like, you know, talking to them like, hey, you're fucking up. Like, what the fuck's going on? This and that. You go in timeout, whatever the case is. But just, you know, disciplining them. And it doesn't have to be a super ass beating or whatever. Just, I know you guys might be like, oh, I can't put hands on a kid. It's not mine. If he lives with you and you raising this, you know what? Does age play a factor in this as well?
I don't believe in spanking. I don't think that hitting kids is the way to correct behavior. So that aspect doesn't click with me at all. I think that there are very, very, very few situations where like spanking is an appropriate response to like correcting behavior in kids. And I think it's only when they're doing something, their life is actually at risk. Like your kid's about to like run out into the middle of the street or a highway or something. I just don't think any of the studies, any of the research supports like hitting your kids as an effective like parenting teaching method anymore.
Because like it has been a debate.
I'm interested in you going, oh, you want to hit your kids? What do you think, hitting your kids is cool?
No, I don't think hitting your kids is cool.
But there is a limit. There is
me.
Yeah. You don't even notice what you do. You were saying, is it okay to discipline your kids? And you're saying, and I already know you guys are gonna say, oh, so you shouldn't hit your kids.
No, because that's gonna be like the first thing you guys are gonna say, like, oh no, you shouldn't hit them. I do think that at some point if they're old enough,
do you think beating your kids is cool?
Not beating. I see. Damn, you just love flipping that shit, spanking them.
Just spank
your kid's like 10 years old or 9 years old, and he's wilding the fuck out. You telling him to calm the fuck down.
That's weird. Some people spank their significant others. All right, I wouldn't want to do that to a child.
Yeah, spanking is for the bedroom only, consensually.
Facts.
Now we're talking about sex. This is amazing. Doe, what do you think? Save me here. You think disciplining your significant other's kid is a move that you would do, or you say, no, it's not my kid?
I would never put my hands on anybody else's child ever.
And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be spanking. It could be just talking to them sternly.
Even that.
That's
even
crazy.
that.
I think you need full sign off from this person, whether it's your partner, whether it's your sisters, your kids, or your nieces, your nephews. I think you need full sign off to have permission to discipline.
You get with a chick and you raise this kid.
Nieces and nephews, I think you could take a little bit more liberty helping raise and helping shape and mold, you know what I mean? Because I don't know if you guys, I mean, I guess you would have to talk to it about your brother and sister, like, hey, you know, or they'll correct you if they see something that they don't like. But I would say in no case or form should you be objecting yourself like that on a child, like yelling, screaming? I think, and especially without full consent, because that yes could you that yes you can quickly turn into a no you can't.
Or how the fuck dare you?
Yeah, it's very, that line is so thin.
So that's a conversation for you and your partner, because if you with your partner and you're raising her kid, you know, from a young age, 1 to 2 years old to 18, 17 or whatever the fuck, if they're living under your house, under your rules, and you're paying, you're feeding them, and you're providing for them as a step parent.
You both are, right?
Yeah, both together.
Okay.
As a step parent.
Let's flip it, Tony. You're dating someone. They're watching Luca for you. You run to the store. You come back and they have Luca bent over their knee and they're spanking him. What is your take on that going to be?
Is that my partner though? You're just saying I just live with.
Yes.
I would ask him first. I would ask her. I would be like, "Why are you spanking him? What he do?" That's my first. What degree did you have to reach?
It would be a way more skeptical line of questioning than if that was her kid, for sure. Undeniably.
Yeah, you'll ask more questions like why. Yeah, for sure. I'm saying though, but if you're raising this kid together, right? Let's say Luca's 12, 15 years old now, and I've been with this chick for that amount of time, like 8 years. And she's disciplining him. To a certain extent, I'll be like, okay, let it play out. He fucked up.
I would imagine in that time frame you would have had a conversation about like the boundaries that are acceptable with how she can treat your child though before that point.
I just think a kid shouldn't disrespect the adult. Like if there's rules and shit in the household, and you guys are both agreeing, like, yo, you can't bring weed into the house. You can't bring girls over. You can't bring guys over too late. And they're breaking these rules. They don't pay no bills. Fuck out of here. You got to follow the rules. It's very simple and plain. If not, then there's gonna be consequences.
Let me give you my take, because I actually never said my opinion, because I actually mostly align with one of the things that Doey said. So for one, let's assume putting your hands on kids is a totally acceptable form of punishment, real quick, right?
Okay.
Because we grew up with a ton of people, and I know plenty of people that still hit their kids, like, and that shit's normal. Don't hit your stepchildren. Just don't do it at all. Yeah. You're wrong every single time you do this. It doesn't matter how long you could have hooked up with this chick the day she got pregnant. This is your fucking kid in every sense of the word. All right, don't touch that kid. Because in every single relationship that I've seen that involved the step parent, at some point it gets thrown into the other parent's face that this ain't their kid. Like that gets used every single relationship I've ever seen. I've seen that. This ain't your kid. Though? It doesn't matter. Right, it's not their kid. It's not their kid. Yeah.
So then that dude should not provide for that kid. That dude shouldn't feed that kid. That dude shouldn't buy clothes for that kid. That dude shouldn't house that kid then.
That dude should do whatever is in the bounds of that relationship. And if part of that relationship is, this ain't your kid, don't put hands on my kid, then that's one of the stipulations. Just like don't cheat on me is one of the rules. Just all those things. So if buying clothes is a normal part of being in that relationship, then sure, they could buy clothes. It doesn't mean that as soon as I do one thing for you, that I could just I could do everything. All the good, all the bad. It comes with, like, I don't think that's right.
Okay, so you take away the spanking part.
Because I do nice things for my nieces and nephews. I'll never put my hands on my niece and nephew. My aunt hit me one time and I went off on her, telling her, you ain't my fucking mom, blah, blah. I went off on her and I was like 8 years old. I was not having nobody putting their hands on me.
I was actually gonna say to Tony's little statement he was making up there, I think sometimes kids do need to call out the parents in their life, and I think kids should be able to call them out whenever they feel like they're making a decision that they don't agree with.
And my mom whipped my ass for going off on my aunt like that, but my aunt never put her hands on me again. You know what I'm saying? So, like, because I found that wrong. I was like, as much as I love my aunt, one of the best people, literally nobody in my family loves anybody more than the way that my aunt loves everybody in my family. That's just a fact. But I just don't want, like, you know, I don't want nobody putting their hands on me. You know, my parents hitting me when I was a kid is like, all right, this is how we grew up. This is normal, blah, blah, blah. Anybody else putting their hands on me and I got to defend myself. And then it gets murky. It's like, it's a family member. I can't hit this person back. So I just got to take this, but I don't think it's right. You know what I'm saying? So like, that was the position I was in. Yeah. So like, I don't think that me buying gifts for my nieces and nephews mean that I could kick their ass now.
Yeah.
And I don't think it should mean the same thing for your stepchildren.
But if she's asking you to help to step in, right, and it doesn't have to be an ass beating. Take away the ass beating.
She's got to set boundaries though, and you got to respect whatever those boundaries of that conversation are. Because I've dated women with kids that have told me that they've left me, watching the kids, and I've done whatever their method of corrective behavior is, and it's been like, you can put them in timeout. If he's throwing stuff across the room, you can take it from him and tell him, hey, we don't throw stuff in this household. Just because your mom's not here doesn't mean you can start throwing stuff in the household. But would absolutely never put hands on someone else's kid.
Mind you, I'm not hitting somebody else's kid. I'm saying to take the spanking part away. The talking to.
Oh wait, but I'm saying let's include the spanking real quick, like because I'm saying let's say spanking is totally normal. You could hit your kids and all of that.
Okay.
Like just don't do it. And even you said even if the person asks you to step in, if that person steps in and is like, yo, if my kid and trust me, I watch my cousin's kids from time to time. They tell me, yo, if my daughter spazzes out, yo, hit her. I don't care. Do it. I won't do it.
Right.
I'm not doing it.
They'll say that.
I feel like it's a discrepancy waiting to happen. It's not. Yeah. I'm not doing it. I appreciate that I have the green light to discipline as I see fit. I don't think hitting is as I see fit, because I think not only A, even if it's totally acceptable, I think it's bad to do, but B, even when they say it's totally acceptable, it's not. It's a discrepancy. Like I swear, I think if I hit my cousin's kid, I think my cousin will be like, yo, you sure you need to go that far? Because I wouldn't have went that far for this. It's like, all right, my bad. Don't give me the green light, because I thought I had, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a discrep. It's a discrep.
Yeah. How do you feel about even yelling and screaming at kids?
You don't even got to be yelling.
I don't yell in general. I don't know the last time in my life that I actually have even yelled at someone, much less a kid.
You do more. You do more texting yelling than yelling.
Now, Mateo does like that very disappointed talk that a parent would do that makes you feel bad.
Same. I agree. He does.
I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed. I thought we were better than this.
But no, you guys would.
Yeah, don't yelling. It would depend. Like, is it abusive? Like,
no,
like,
not abuse.
Are you saying like you're so stupid? You always do shit like blah blah. It's like you're probably crossing the line, even though you got the green light for this.
Yelling is an abuse,
but I think there's circumstances. Like, I've seen kids fuck up repeatedly. I mean, crash a car 3 times in a row. Like, you're gonna have some words. Like, I gotta deal with your problems. Like, this sucks. Like,
I'm saying
I'm gonna have some words. If I'm the person that has to deal with this, I'm gonna have words. And that's usually my rule. When I watch my nieces and nephews, I don't care how their parents discipline. Their parents could be the most relaxed people in the world. If you're coming into my house, you're not gonna put your feet on my couch. You're not gonna run around the house screaming at the top of your lungs. I'm gonna have some rules. And if you follow my rules, we're gonna have the most fun in the world. I promise you. I'm gonna let you do whatever you want to do. As long as you're not hitting people and disrespecting and dirtying up the place, you can watch TV, you could play games, you could do it, go outside and play, do whatever the fuck you want. As soon as you start fucking up, the Puch is gonna come down with that stick, all right? The metaphorical stick, not a real stick, not a real stick. The stick of the law.
Right? The stick hit you. I didn't hit you. The stick hit you.
The stick fell, and it just happened to spank you right when you did the wrong thing.
Oh my God. My mom has this story that she's told me before, where she grew up in a household where they were not hit, but she went and stayed with some family members that were very much like physical discipline kind of family members. So she did something where her tia got mad at her, and her tia told her to go. She took her aside and she was like, "Hey," she's like, "Go outside and get me a stick." And my mom, not knowing what the hell this meant, she went and she found this perfect, like thick, nice branch, and she brought it in, and my tia beat the shit out of her, right? And then my cousins were telling my mom later on, they were like, "You fucked up." They were like, "Why did you go and get a big stick like that? We get the smallest one we can find whenever she tells us to do that." Yep. But my poor mom had her little heart broken by one of her family members because they beat her with a stick.
That's crazy.
Down South Florida, it was what they call switches, and they take the wiring and shit like that, like from appliances.
I mean, we all got our ass beat growing up, right?
I wasn't really hit. I had some extended family members that hit me a few times. My grandpa used to hit me.
I got my ass beat. Like
I was spanked. I was slapped a few times.
That slap is the word.
I wasn't hit by family members after about like age 10 or so because I've got problems with authority. I don't know if y'all have noticed this or not.
My mom hasn't hit me since I was like 11 years old. That's probably the last time
I got the belt. I got the belt.
Bro, I got hit with
I wouldn't. At least for me, I think the hitting goes beyond what's acceptable in American society today. But I don't feel like I was abused.
I don't either. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel like I was abused
nobody was
either.
like hitting me for no reason or punching me in my face or like injuring me in any way. Like, nah. Like,
and I got my ass beat with a crocodile belt, an extension cord, a wire hanger, fucking spatula, chancletas. Bro, I got my ass beat a lot. Like, because I was a bad kid. I do a lot of dumb shit growing up. I did a lot of dumb shit. I deserved to get spanked. So, and I don't think my parents abused me.
Would the lessons have stuck more if they had used an alternate method though? Because it sounds like the hitting you with things method wasn't really working to fix your behavior.
No, it fixed me because
he's saying that could they have disciplined you in a different way that would have been more effective?
Nah, probably not. I think
you think the kid that was so addicted to playing video games like you were back in the day, you think that hitting you got you to behave more easily than if your parents were just like, all right, I'm packaging up your N64, your PS2. Like, you're just not going to play for this many days.
Until you get your shit together, you get your grades up, whatever the case may be.
They've done that too, but they gave in.
They don't stick to it.
Yeah. That's the problem too. That's another problem too. Like, if you and your significant other say, all right, this is the plan, and they don't stick with the plan, at what point do you be like, yo, I just give up? I give up, bro.
Well, I mean that's why people keep going back to hitting, because it's easy. It's a short-term solution. You can hit and you can stop immediate behavior, but from what I understand, hitting isn't very effective at stopping long-term behavior. It just stops the situation as it exists at that moment.
Yeah,
and I'm in the belief that some people think that you shouldn't fear your parents. I feel like there's a balance of love and fear that keeps children in check. Yeah. Like, you shouldn't have fear of like, you know, you're fucking quivering in a corner afraid of a situation, but like a child should know that you are the disciplinary in the house, that your word is the word to be, like, it's the law of the house. Is like,
I am the law.
I am no one's above the law. Now fucking Judge Dredd out of nowhere. Fucking Sylvester Stallone. What a classic. That movie's horrible. Like, I think there's something to that effect that makes that dynamic work, because the dynamic ain't equal. It's a child. Like, at the end of the day, you're gonna force this kid to do something, whether they want to do it or not. You got to. Like, you have to go to school. You have to wear clothes. No, you can't go to school with the mini skirt with your ass hanging out. Like, you're gonna be imposing these rules, and I think there's a balance of love and respect. I don't think love gets you all the way there. I don't think fear gets you all the way there, and I think there needs to be a little mix of both.
It's funny you say that.
Definitely think there's a balance,
because I see it in Luca now. Like, I talk to him on the phone sometimes, FaceTime, and obviously his mother is telling him, don't do that. He's not really listening. She has to go and grab him and do it. But when I'm here, I'm like, yo, Luca, put that down. He'll look at me and put it down. Like, and I tell her, I was like, yo, like, he doesn't do that shit. It's just, and it's like, maybe because like he's like he sensed me as like, okay, he tells me no, one or two things is gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna get in timeout, or I'm gonna get a little spanky, or he's gonna be really, really upset. And it's just like, sometimes, bro, like, Pucho, one day, I'm telling you, you might catch yourself spanking your son one day. You might. He's gonna get to an age where he's gonna get to an age, and I think the spanking
That's
might
fine.
have to
My
do that
daughter's
shit.
older than your kid, and I haven't hit her a single time.
Oh no, she actually listens too, though. Boys,
What?
I think boys is a
My
little
daughter's
different.
one of the most unruly people on planet Earth. Okay, I'll tell you right now.
Really?
Oh my God!
She's changed. Last
To get
time
her
I
out
seen
the
her,
door, to just get her to put on clothes could take 20 minutes because she just
Really?
doesn't want to do it. Yeah, it's
damn,
horrible.
she changed a lot because I know she was innocent listening, sits down. Now you can't even get her to put clothes on. That's crazy.
My daughter's moody. So when the mood strikes, she's like,
Oh, it's over. with.
I am a fucking sovereign citizen. Your rules do not hold any water over me, okay? Like, you know what I'm saying? Then she acts just like that. She'll throw herself on the floor, throw a tantrum, all that type of shit. And how you navigate that tantrum is important. Like, we've done the let her sit there kicking and crying until she gets over it. Didn't work really well. We've done the super discipline and blah, blah. And there's a balance. Like, you need to be strong in what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do and follow through on that. And then when they're very upset, kids can't control their emotions. You gotta
Let them do it.
You got no, don't let them do it. I'm saying, like, you need to get down to their level, talk to them very kindly, get them to relax, and just explain to them, like, look, we're not gonna do this. We could do other things, but this thing we're not gonna do. And to me, that's a balance of, like, you know, I'm putting my foot down, but I'm still showing you, like, I'm here for you. I want you to have a good time. But no, you're not gonna go to bed with the necklace that could choke you to death. It's not gonna happen. Like, and that was the tantrum last night to go to bed. She wanted this fucking necklace. I'm like, you might choke and die with that thing in your bed. Like, nah, we're not doing that.
That's
like,
crazy.
Yeah,
All right.
or,
So
I want you to read me 6 books tonight. Nah, you're getting 3. We're not reading 6 books. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, those are the fights. But nah, I'm not gonna find myself spanking my kids.
So then age plays a
only
role.
situation I ever put my hands on my kids if my kids are old enough and strong enough where them putting hands on people is actually gonna harm them. Like, if I walk in the room and my son is like wailing on my wife, I'm throwing fucking hands. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
kid.
well, that'll be beat. You failed that.
I'm just giving you a scenario. I can't say never, but I'm saying that's the situation. If I walk in and my son is beating the shit out of my daughter, like, I'm putting hands, like, or vice versa. Like, yo, I'm throwing hands. I'm good. I'm gonna restrain the situation. It ain't right.
real quick.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna, like, under normal circumstances. Oh, this kid broke a window or this. I'm like, the idea that you fucking charge in so angry that you gotta beat the shit out of your kid, it just seems nuts to me. Like, you're you're just getting the anger out of you. It's
What are
like,
some things that
Your kid gets in a fight at school, and you're like, I will teach you to not get in a fight by kicking your ass right now.
By
my mother
fighting
did
you?
that to me.
No.
I've beat a kid's ass in school, and my mom took me home and beat my ass. I was like, fuck. The guy attacked me, but I'm the bad guy, whatever. So, you know.
Shout outs to the moms who beat their kids' ass for beating the kid up. Yep.
Yo, I know there was a few times where me and my brother really deserved it. Like, we were restaurants. You couldn't take us out to restaurants until we were like 6 or 7.
Y'all were that bad?
Really bad, bro. Even at church.
Oh.
Boy, we knew what was up. When we would get home, my mom would put Kenny G on and then sit in the room, and she said, Papo, come here, sit down. I
Kenny
need to
G,
talk
huh?
to you. Yeah, and I used to get my ass whooped to Kenny G songs.
That is like the fucking biggest oxymoron I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the Kenny G genre called? It's like
Soft jazz.
It's like it's soft jazz, easy jazz. It's like it's the most mellow, nicest music you could put on.
Tony,
I've got
just
a
sitting there charging up the spankings that are coming.
Some of the sexy sax shit going on.
Yeah.
He can't walk into a spa to this day without getting a little fear in his eyes.
Steps into an elevator. He's fucking looking all over.
Is that Kenny G? What were you gonna say about that? My bad.
Did you? Here's something that I knew and then I forgot and then I found out again this week. Do you know what the music genre in Star Wars is called? You know, like the Mos Eisley band, that little like the da 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 da. You know what that genre of music is called in the Star Wars universe?
What?
It's called jizz.
No way.
It's called jizz. Those guys are jizz musicians.
That's hilarious.
That's horrible.
Right?
Who the fuck came up with
That's
that?
so
They
bad.
do all look like their heads are
Or
ball sacks.
Jizz.
Tight ball
Jizzers.
sacks, all right? Not my fucking saggy sack, but like, you know, they did the procedure where they grab all the excess skin and make your ball sack look like a brain.
Well, they get rid of all the wrinkles on it.
All the wrinkles. You got a smooth looking like two of my heads right there under your cock right there.
Man, that's a thumbnail right there. But there's no way YouTube will let me put that thumbnail up.
You can put my head 2 times in like a cucumber.
Oh, no. But ladies and gentlemen, if you stuck with us throughout this entirety of this beautiful episode, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share, hit the bell. Please
Hit that
comment.
subscribe.
We're on Discord. Join our Discord server. We could talk all police auditing, solving citizens, communist shit, capitalist shit, whatever you want to talk about. We're there. Chat us up. We'll gladly accept Frank W. and Mr. E, man. Jump in the Discord, man. We could talk more in there and laugh about it.
Even the guy who called us fat fucks.
Oh yeah, yo,
Welcome,
go fuck yourself too, buddy.
the guy who called the several people who called Mateo J.R. Smith. Come on, we need shit.
Forgot
People
about
that call this fat fucks. Come on. I find it funny. I don't give a damn about what you guys say. Just comment on my videos. Make sure you like them before you call me a fat fuck, and you know, we're good.
It's a
It's
fact.
a trade off.
And as always,
Even
people,
Steven.
go one up yourself. Peace.